it's Holly. And I was looking around at some of the things I've made recently, and this hat I made for my daughter really jumped out at me. It was made with this Red Heart yarn Super Saver stripes in the color Bright Stripes. It is so one of my favorites. I mean, it looks like it's just glowing in the dark all by itself. And I was thinking, since it's cold here in Michigan, that it was a good idea that I make her a scarf to match this adorable little hat. So today that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be a really simple scarf to go with this simple hat. And it's going to have pom-poms on the end of it. If you want to see the video where I made this hat, just click this little card up here. Otherwise, let's get started on making that scarf. To make this super simple pom-pom scarf, you're going to need to pick your yarn. I'm obviously using the yarn that matches the hat I made. This is the Red Heart yarn Super Saver stripes in the color Bright Stripes. I absolutely love the way this worked up in the hat. You need a yarn needle for sewing in your ends, some scissors for cutting and trimming, and of course a crochet hook. I'm using a 5mm by Yarnology. So first we're going to pull out a nice tail. I like to have a tail, or a long area. You're going to leave a long tail because that's going to come in handy for when we're finished. So leave yourself a long tail, make a slip knot. And normally I work over my tail. We are not working over our tail because we're going to need that later. So we're just going to let that drop. And for my scarf, it's to fit my daughter. So I'm going to chain 20 plus 2, which will equal the half double crochets we're doing. But you can make yours as wide as you want. So we're going to just chain up 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay. Now what we're going to do is this whole pattern is made with half double crochets. And so to do a half double, well, we're going to start by doing a half double in our end here. So we're going to go into the second chain second chain from the hook. So 1, 2, we're going to go into the third. I'm sorry. You yarn over, go into that third, you pull through, and then you'll have 3 hoops on your hook. Just pull through all 3 of those. That is your first half double crochet. In this pattern, we're not really counting our chains. So now what you want to do is just go all the way across. So you did 1, do 19 more until you have 20 half double crochets all the way across, and I will meet you at the end of that row. Okay, I've made it to my last stitch here in row 1. I'm just going to go in, pull through, and pull through all 3. And now I have 20 half double crochets, not counting this end one. We're not counting the end ones in this pattern. Now to go to row 2 and all of the other rows, all we do is chain up 2, turn our work, and go right back into that first one. So yarn over, go through, pull your yarn through, you'll have 3 on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. That is your first. And so then you're just going to count, make sure you do 20 in each row, and you're going to continue doing that until your scarf is as long as you want it. Mine isn't going to be very long because again I'm making it for my daughter, but you can make it as long as you want. So go ahead and continue doing 20 in a row, not counting your chain 2, and I'll meet you back on our very last row. So I made it to my last row, and I'm about to put my last stitch in here, last half double. So just go through all 3, and then now I just want to tie off. So I'm just going to grab my end. I left myself that much, so I'm just going to grab the end, pull it through that little hole, get rid of my hook there, and tighten down. And it's all done. I made mine again for my 8-year-old daughter, so I only did 20 half doubles across, and then I did about 62 inches long. I was able to go through the colorway on this scarf twice, which I thought was really pretty, and it turned out really nice. So now we are going to add to the end of these pom-poms. I went ahead and used my Pom Pom maker, which if you would like to hear my review about that Pom Pom maker, click the little card up here in the corner. And I made 6-inch Pom Poms in this neon color. The whole scarf together took almost 2 skeins. I used 1 skein here, and then it was about 2 skein, or another skein for these guys. Oh, lost a little fur. We're going to set those to the side for a second. So the first thing we want to do is, remember I told you you're going to need a yarn needle? So we're going to thread our yarn needle. And what you're going to do is, in your stitches, you're just going to go back and forth all the way across your stitches like you're sewing. Just back and forth, because that will help you scrunch this all together. So just go in and then back out the next stitch. All the way across. So go ahead and do that on both ears. All you're going to do is go all the way across and then tighten it down like this. Do that on both of your ends, and I'll meet you back for attaching the pom-poms. Okay, so I forgot to mention, once you scrunch all the way across the top, it's still kind of big and we want it together. So what you want to do is just take your 2 corners and put them together and just sew them together. You're going to kind of do that. Just sew this area here together. And your pom-pom, just work through all the stitches right across there. And sew it together nice and tight. The pom-pom's going to go right here. And make sure you're on the front side of your project or working on the right side. It doesn't really matter because you can always flip it later, so work on the inside out, I guess, and then flip it over. But you just want to sew up that hole so that it's kind of made a little area for the pom-pom to attach to. Then work in that tail and go ahead and do it on the other side. And I will meet you back here. Okay, so now that I have my 2 ends sewed up, make sure they're pointed the same direction on both. So I have mine so it's not twisted. And then we're just going to grab a big fat pom-pom, and I always leave my 2 strings really nice and long. I take my first string and I thread my yarn needle. I find the center kind of pointy area and I just go in and I pull that one through. For some reason it's getting stuck. There we go. I just let it lay down. Careful not to undo it. I thread the other end and I pick a spot near to where I went in, but kind of over just a little bit, just to give it something to tie around. And I go through, and now I take my 2 ends and I just tie them off really nice and well. I like to give them a couple of ties. You can then just work these tail ends in, or you can just cut them really short. They won't be that visible. I'm going to go ahead and put the second pom-pom on just to show you one more time, and then I'll probably work in my ends. So again, I just take one of the sides, doesn't matter which one of the tail ends first, thread my yarn needle. You could also use a crochet hook for this. Don't need a yarn needle. You just go through, pull that string all the way through. Then I'm going to grab the next one, do the same thing, but again not through the same spot. I went in right here. I'm going to go over just a little, just to give it some area to tie on to. So then I'm going to just give it a couple of knots here. I'm going to do one more just for safety. Okay, so besides having to work in my ends, my pom-poms are all attached. And I will go ahead and work in my ends, and then we're going to find somebody to try this lovely scarf on. So I think it turned out really, really great. I know it's just a half double crochet, it's nothing fancy, but the colors is what really makes this scarf special. And come on, these giant pom-poms, aren't they just amazingly colorful? I absolutely love it, and I think this scarf goes just amazing with the hat. Where is that hat? Oh, Starlet has it. Well, since you're here, Starlet, let's try on the scarf. Oh, let me just give it a little twist. Oh, wow. What do you think of it, Princess?
I like the Pom Poms.
You like the Pom Poms? Do you like how colorful it is?
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much for watching our video. Sorry, it's getting a little Pom Pom dust everywhere. Okay, seriously. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to check out our video about our giveaway. I'll link that right over here. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Bye!